Hello and welcome back to the Toasty Hen podcast. This is a finish or frog episode update. So this is the second one. About 6 months or so ago, I did the original finish or frog, which I showcased several projects. If you have not, I would recommend taking a look at it right over here. Today we are going to go over some items from that episode that have either been finished. I'll talk about a couple that were frogged, and there's a couple still that haven't been touched, but we'll go over that. And I have some new projects that I unearthed in my organizing. You might be able to see some of them by my elbow here. We'll go over those too. So I'll kind of go back and forth of things that were finished, things that were frogged, and new projects. So grab something to drink. I have some coffee that I'm finishing here, and we will get into it. I'm going to try to go fairly quick because my daughter is playing somewhat happily over there. Maybe not for too long. So let's get it. We're going to start up first off with a finished object that I'm wearing. This was not in that video, but this is my finished C Street tank by Brianna of the Little Wolf Knits, which ties into our first finished object from previous videos, which is a beachcomber tank. The knitting on this had been done, but it had not had ends woven in. I had even blocked it. So the beachcomber tank is done. This is just a kind of a nice little tank to throw over. I made it specifically to wear over dresses because that is how I like to style my knits a lot. So the beachcomber tank is one in the finished category. I don't remember what yarn this was out of. It just was some stuff that I had in stash, but that is a piece of paper that was in the basket where this was. But anyway, beachcomber tank is finished. One in the finished category. Next up, we are going to talk about a project that I uncovered. This, I believe it's a Freddy hat by Harper Jane Knits, because I was really into making those for a little bit. Let me pull up that pattern real quick. So this, you can see that, is the Freddy beanie by Harper Jane Knits. So it's kind of like those CC beanies that were really popular a few years ago. So I don't know. I was making these to sell them for a while, but that market it's kind of died down in this area. So this will probably end up getting frogged and I will reuse the yarn for something else. However, I will hold off on that for a little bit. And if anybody is interested in a beanie in this really pretty green yarn, drop a comment below and I will finish it and list it on my site. But I think this is going to be a frog just because I don't remember when I started it. I don't know if my tension is going to be different. Honestly, I might just restart it. I don't know. So this is for now going to go in the frog pile, unless anybody wants a finished Freddy beanie. And this is in Lion Brand Thick and Quick. Anyway. All right. The next item on the finished list from the previous video is another sweater or top. This is a sweater that I knit for my husband. I started this when we were dating and I finished it right after we were married. We have been married for 3.5 years. I know this sweater moved with the ends needing to be woven in. So that has been done. It has this really nice colorwork detail and colorwork on the bottom. And this is made, I tried paint box yarns for the first time. I do not remember the pattern name off the top of my head, but I do know that this is in my Ravelry projects. It's hard to show because this is an adult man-sized sweater at the angle that I'm at, but the ends are all woven in. So he will be happy that this winter he can finally wear the sweater that I said I would make for him years ago. So anyway, this feels very good to get out of my whip basket because the knitting on this has been done for so long. And now it's finally like wearable. So number 2 for the finished pile. All right. Let's do another. Should we finish this or frog this? I think baby agrees that this is going to be a frog. This was the start of I think this was the start of a thick Santa hat, and I had already frogged the red section. So this is going to get frogged and reworked into something else. I'm not going to do that on camera just because for the sake of time today, but another frogged hat. Apparently it's a theme so far with hats. All right. If you watched my last video, you would have also seen, yeah. Did you watch the last video, honey? Yeah, you watched it with Mama. If you watched the last video, you would have seen that there was a singular mitten. Well, now we have a pair. I finished the second mitten in this pair, and it only took me an hour, honestly, just over an hour. I finished it basically in 2 pumping sessions, which is about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more. Although I knit the same size, but you can see my tension is a little bit different than when I originally made these. So I'm going to try giving this a steam block to see if I can make them a little bit closer to the same size. When you hold them up like this, it's not as obvious, but when I hold them up side by side, it's just like the knitting just looks tighter. So I guess my tension has changed a little bit. But we have another finished object in the form of a pair of mittens. Second sock syndrome apparently can get you for mittens as well. We have a cute little project bag. I made this out of a charm pack and did a little boxed bottom, although I did have to add a couple of extra squares to get it to be the right size. And speaking of second sock syndrome, I have this sock. This is Turkish Delight. I cannot remember, I don't have the pattern in here and I don't remember who it's by, but I do remember the name of the sock pattern is Turkish Delight. And I really like the way the sock fits. I like the way that it looks. I made this during sock week in 2024. Was this my 24 or 23? I don't remember, honestly. I made this during sock week and I had just done a really quick bind off because I was like really crunching the time limit, and I bound it off way too tight. I could not get this over my ankle just because I didn't do a super stretchy bind off. I just did like a regular one. And I never picked this up to make the second sock. So I need to redo the bind off on here. And I might make that ribbing a little bit taller, and then I need to start the second sock. So for now, this is going to go in the finish pile. But I'm going to try this on again just to see if I like the sock, because I really like a different sock pattern. I am loving this one that I made this year for sock week, which is, I really love the vanilla bean sock by the Crazy Sock Lady. So I might actually frog this one and reknit it with this pattern, just because I love this texture and I think that this yarn would look really good. This is a yarn that I don't remember the name of. It was a sock set by the Little Wolf Knits. And I know it was like something Christmas time. Like, I want to say like Christmas at Hogsmeade or something like that. But it is a sock set by her. So I think this one's going to go in the maybe pile for now. Now that I think about it, I think this might get frogged and reknit into a different pattern, just because it's been sitting so long and I haven't been like, oh my gosh, I want to knit that sock again. So that I'm leaning towards that actually now. And I feel like socks are one of those things that like feel super daunting, but once you get into it, like they're not, at least for me, I like having a sock on the go. I don't know, I just like knitting socks. I think they're easy. It's fun to mix it up with different textures and variety. So I think I might actually frog those socks and keep going with a different pattern. Another sock that I did not do that with was the caramel sauce socks. So this is a pattern by Joji Locatelli. These do look a little bit worn because I finished them and I have been wearing them. So if you watched my previous video, I think I had one sock done and the other sock was about here or so. I think I had gotten through the heel turn and I just needed to do the foot, which I did. I took a few days, and during my nighttime pump sessions, I was able to get the second sock finished. Yeah, you want to see the socks? Sockies! So I have been wearing these. I love them. They're super cozy. One thing I do wish I would have done is made this, the cuff just a little bit taller, but I've made that change in subsequent socks now. I like doing shorties, but not quite this short. But yes, these have been getting some love. This is out of a Squirrel Girl yarn dyed at Threadbender Yarn Shop. So anyway, I have been loving wearing these. If you could not tell by the little bit of pilling, they need to be washed again. Yeah. All right. I unearthed another crochet project while I was looking for something else. This is being made in Red Heart. I have some Impeccable. I think this is Red Heart and probably more Impeccable. I think this is a Wild Oleander. Yeah, Mama's almost done. And I had made it for like a Halloween, but I don't know, in my area, stuff like this, like shawls and stuff like this, just don't sell super well. And I think I just kind of lost interest in it. So I think this is going to be frogged, and I'll reclaim the yarn and turn it into something else because it's a little bit too big to use as a like bandana. I hope I can do this with my mic. I think it's just like too small to be a cowl. It's a wrong shape to just finish as like a little blanket. So I think I'm going to reclaim the yarn for this, unless, like I said, with the Freddie beanie, unless anybody is interested in me finishing this, it would be quite a bit larger, and I plan to add fringe on the bottom, but I do not have to add fringe. So this is going to go in the frog unless somebody claims it in the next couple weeks. I know only a few people watch my videos, but it is what it is. So if anybody's interested in finish this as a finished piece, let me know. Otherwise, this yarn is going to be redistributed into my stash for other things, because this has probably been a project for 3 years at least, because I kind of forgot about it. Also, I have no idea what hook size I'm using, so I'd have to figure that out. And yeah, I think that's gonna get frogged. I'm going to talk about a couple of other projects real quick that I don't have on me, or I did not pull for the video, that were not worked on at all. So the bonfire sweater, and well, this one's here because I want to finish it today. I was hoping to have this done, but all the pieces are there. I just need to put stuffing in them and sew them together and make the mane and tail. That didn't get worked on. The bonfire sweater didn't get worked on. The Blue Sky Fibers, I plan on ripping that out because I want to reclaim that yarn for something else. I just wasn't loving the fit of the sweater. It just wasn't, it's not doing anything for me, design wise and creativity wise. So that is going to get ripped out. And what was the other project in there that I forgot? Oh, you can kind of see it behind me right there. That little bit of orange, that did get frogged and reworked into something else. And I did rip out a sock, and that got rolled into another project. So if you follow along and have seen my July update, I did talk about, there's a shawl in there that I was working on as a test knit that has the yarn from the sock that I ripped out in that test knit. I just didn't grab it for this. Moving on. Another finished object. It's looking a little ratty already, because I have thrown this in the dryer. Ignore that I never woven the ends, but there was that little corner to corner blanket in the original video, and it just needed a border, which I did. I very much messed up my corner to corner, and it is a little wonky, but it is still usable. It is still warm. We used it all winter, hence the pilling, because this is an acrylic yarn, and I just tossed it in the washer and the dryer and was like, whatever, it's fine. So this corner to corner blanket got finished and has been well loved this winter. It was a perfect size to throw over baby girl's car seat, going to and from the house. when she still was in her infant car seat. In March or so, we switched her to her big girl car seat. So yeah, we used this all winter. All right, we have two more things. One is a potential frog. This one is a little bit bigger than the other triangle shawl. Honestly, I could probably, I don't know, it just feels a little too small, but maybe that's just because I wear like an XL 2X shirt depending on the fit. So it just feels too small for me to just be like a super cozy big shawl or scarf. This is no pattern. This is just like a granny stitch triangle. And I have this lovely project bag. I did not make this one. I got it, I don't even know where. It just says thank you. There's a bunch of random scraps in here. There's some blue, some cream, there's some gray, there's a black one. I don't know. There's just a bunch of random scraps. So I think I might actually throw this in my like basket on the couch and just pull this out here and there and make it as big as I can. And I think I will endeavor to finish this. Again, I don't know which hook I was using, so I will have to figure that out or just grab a different one and go from there. But it's a very easy, mindless project. I like having a granny. Like socks, I like having a granny stitch project on the hook. So I think I will work on finishing that. And then it might just be a nice, like, keep on the couch as like a little throw. All right. I am quickly running out of time because if you can tell, somebody is getting a little anxious in the background and I think she's ready for another bottle. But the last item that we're going to talk about today is another finished item from the first video, which is this shawl that did not have a pattern. I was working and designing a pattern and I have not gotten any progress done on that, but I did weave in all the ends. It has not been blocked. It has not been blocked yet, but this shawl did get finished. All right, so that was a super quick update on what has been finished, what I need to frog. I think we got a good mix here today. I know I didn't pull out as many projects that needed to be finished. I'm working on quite a few, but I'm working on quite a few projects right now, but I have the motivation to finish all of them. A few of these that I found have been hidden away for a while, and I was like, I just need to make a decision on this. So maybe I'll make this a semi-annual thing. Every 6 months or so, I'll pull out all the projects I'm working on that have been or hidden away, and we'll do a finisher frog on some things that have been sitting for a while. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time for another knitting update, or knitting and crochet. Can't forget the crochet. There's a lot of crochet in here. We will be back for another update. Thank you for watching.